Hi, and welcome to Week 10 of the 2017 high school football season. My name is Michael Bevan with the Akron Beacon Journal and Ohio.com. Here with Scott Fagerstrom, as always, my boss. If you have any complaints, contact this guy. We're going to start here this week in Week 10. What do you think?
Well, we got a lot of great games this week that are going to determine, playoff spots and division championships, conference championships, the whole 9 yards. So we'll get started with the PTC County. We got two undefeated teams at Ritztown, Mogador and Ritztown. They're ranked 1 and 2 in their division right now in the computer rankings. They're both going to host playoff games, but they've got a score to settle as far as the PTC.
That's a good way to put it, a score to settle. And look for Caleb Cott, running back at Rootstown, and Gavin Christie at Mogador. Those will probably be the guys that are scoring a lot, if there is scoring, because these two teams bring it defensively as well. So, as you said, both teams going to be at home for the playoffs regardless of this result.
Right.
It's just a matter of who's number 1 in that region and who's number 2.
Right, and who wins the conference,
and who wins the conference, of course, which is a big deal, obviously, every year.
Right, and our next big game is Barberton at Highland in the Suburban League American Conference. Barberton's undefeated, trying to put a cap on a 10-0 season. Highland's at home and a tough foe for Barberton.
Yeah, Highland's been putting up points. Jake Rogers, Matthew Ernest, these two guys can play some football. But once again, Barberton, they are a very fast team. They also have been scoring a lot of points. They've been really good defensively. Guys like Key Thompson and Zane Reese have brought it all year. Those are seniors. They are on the road, face a really talented Highland team, but I think on paper the Magics probably have the edge.
You would think. We'll move on to the Suburban League National Conference now, where Wadsworth's on the same boat. They're looking to cap an undefeated 10-0 season. They're playing at Hudson, another strong team in that conference. Hudson has stumbled a bit of late, but they'll provide a nice challenge for Wadsworth.
Absolutely. This is another tough game. It's at Hudson. Hudson loves to throw the ball with Colt Pillay. Wadsworth, they love to throw the ball too with Joey Boffman. He's a dual-threat quarterback. Yeah. On paper, Wadsworth has the edge, but Hudson has home field.
Yeah, Wadsworth is scoring, 40, 50 points a game.
Exactly, yeah. So if Hudson were to get this game, Stowe's in play, where you could possibly have a 3-way tie in the Suburban National. And then also in the Suburban American, if Highland, getting back to that one, if Highland beats Barberton, Aurora could potentially be in play too, where you'd have a 3-way champion. So a lot of interesting details, and this is only half of the game so far.
Well, the fourth game on Friday night, a big one in Ohio high school history. Jim France, the coach at Manchester, looking for his record win, 382 wins it would be against CBCA at Manchester. But again, CBCA is a strong opponent, and this is also going to determine the conference. Manchester is undefeated, CBCA has 1 loss.
Yes, that 1 loss is to Fairless, who, if CBCA wins, Fairless could be in play. But really looking at this like we talked about, Jim France has been coaching longer than I've been alive, almost as long as you've been alive. The guy knows football. He knows football. He's won a lot of big games, whether it be regular season or in the playoffs. And he's also got a talented sophomore running back named Ethan Wright, who last week became their first running back to surpass 2,000 yards in a single season.
That's a lot.
And that's through, 9 games?
Yeah.
So this kid's still got this week and then the playoffs. So you look at this one, I think Manchester, with all the emotion and all the history, I think they have the edge in this matchup.
All right, we'll move on to Saturday now. In the City Series, Bookdale is in the same boat. They're undefeated in the city. They're playing Firestone. Bookdale wins, they clinch the city. They come off on a hard-fought win over East last week to take the outright lead. And Bookdale is looking to clinch the championship.
Yes, yeah. This one, Bookdale, East, both teams that are in Division III, they're fighting for a playoff spot, so a lot to play this week for those two teams. I was at the game last week at the University of Akron, and Bookdale really came out, showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit. They really ran the ball very well. They defended well, and they also mixed in a passing game. Brandon McGinnis threw a couple touchdown passes, and their defense was solid. I mean, they really came after it. Firestone's coming off a win against Ellett, so they're obviously feeling pretty good about themselves, but I think Bookdale at home on a Saturday afternoon probably has the edge.
Yeah, they do, and that would wrap up a City Series championship for them, and take it back from East, who won it last year.
Yeah, and if Firestone were to win, then they could have another 3-way tie between East, Bookdale, and Firestone, because East beat Firestone. And then speaking of East, they're at Warren Howland on Friday. That's a huge game for them.
Yeah. I think they're like 9th place right now.
They're in Division
rankings.
3, region whatever number, with like Aurora, St. Vincent, St. Mary, Bookdale, East, and Woodridge, and so on.
Yeah, and a win over Howland, might be able to squeak them into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then on Saturday also we have a big game, the big rivalry game between Massillon and Canton McKinley. McKinley's undefeated season came to an end last week at the hands of Perry. I don't know if they're looking ahead to the Massillon game or not for that one, but these two, no matter what the records are, it's always a good game.
Yeah, this should be interesting to see how McKinley adjusts. Last week, Jaron Curtis of Perry, he ran for over 200 yards against the Canton McKinley defense that really nobody's put up that type of production this year, and he did that. So we'll see if Massillon, if they're able to also run the ball as well. But I think on paper, with McKinley at home, it's the first time this matchup is played in that renovated stadium, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. I think McKinley comes out fired up. They lost last week. I don't see them losing 2 games in a row, especially with Josh Chandler defensively, and their quarterback play has been really solid this year. So I would say the Bulldogs probably have the edge against the Tigers. And also, there's been some trash talking between those two schools, which, if you're watching this, you know what we're talking about. So.
And there's one other game that Woodridge is playing Springfield. If Woodridge wins that game, they clinch the PTC Metro Division.
Right, on Friday night, yeah.
And also, probably lock up a playoff spot with that win.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, a lot of good games this week.
Yeah, a lot of playoff implications, championship implications. And if you want to see us in Week 11, the first week of the playoffs, drop an email to me or to this guy, because we're thinking about maybe taking this show on the road and coming to a school, whether it be in Summit County or just outside of Summit County, to talk high school football. And so we'll see what we got. It's mbevan@thebeaconjournal.com.
sfagerstrom @thebeaconjournal.com. Send it to me.
Okay. We look forward to your emails, and good luck to all involved in Week 10, and thanks.
All right, we'll see you, Mike.